Good afternoon, friends. This is your next lecture for the database management. In that, in today's section, we have to cover the distributed database storage part. In that, first we have to assume the rational data model. We have to study what is rational model, what is that. Okay. After that, we have to study replication part. After that, fragmentation. What is replication, what is fragmentation, what are the advantages disadvantages of that. After that, we have to study replication and fragmentation can be combined. Okay, clear? Now without wasting our time, we will discuss one by one all the topics. Okay, we will start with the relational database. Relational data model in DBMS concept, constraints and examples we have to study. Okay, relational model RM represents the database as collection of relations. Okay, what is RM? RM is a relational model which represents the database as a collection of relations. A relation is nothing but a table of values. Every row in a table represents a collecting of related data values. These rows of the table denote a real world entity or relationship. The table name and column name are help to interpret the meaning of value in each row. The data are represented as a set of relations. In the relation model, data are stored as tables where the physical storage of the data is independent of the way the data are logically organized. Clear? Everybody? In short, relation model represents the database as a collection of relations. A relation is nothing but the table of values. Clear? Some popular relation database management systems are, there are different systems. First one is DB2 and Informix Dynamics Server IBM. Clear? Second is Oracle and RDB Oracle. And third one is SQL Server and Access Microsoft. Clear? In that, in relation model concept, we are going to study the relation model concept. Attribute. First one is attribute. Each column in a table attribute are the properties which define a relation. Okay? Example, student roll number, name, etc. Okay? In second, tables. The relational model. In the relational model, the relations are saved in the table format. It is stored along with its entities. A table has two properties, rows and column. Row represent records and column represent attributes. Clear? Third is tuple. It is nothing but a single row of a table which contains a single record. Relation schema. Next is relation schema. A relation schema represents the name of the relation with its attributes. Clear? Next one is degree. The total number of attributes which in the relation is the degree of the relation. Clear? Next is coordinately. Next is cardinality. The number of rows present in the table is called cardinality. And column. The column represents the set of values for specific attributes. Next is relation instance. Relation instance is a finite set of tuples in the RDBMS system. Relation instances never have duplicate tuples. Relation key. Every row has one, two, or multiple attributes, which is called relation key. Next is attribute domain. Every attribute has some predefined value or scope, which is known as attribute domain. Clear? Table is also called relation. Here is the primary key. Second is domain, transaction hotmail. First and third customer ID and status is also called as the column or attributes. Total hash of column is degree. See the diagram. Clear? Vertical lines are column or attributes and horizontal lines are tuple or row. Okay, the relation integrity constants. Relation integrity constants in DBMS are referred to condition which may be present for a valid relation. These relational constants in DBMS are derived from the rule in the mini world that the database represents. There are many types of integrity constraints in DBMS. Constraints on the relation database management system is mostly divided into three main categories as domain constraint, key constraints, and referral integrity constraints. Domain constraint. Domain constraint can be violated if an attribute value is not appearing in the corresponding domain or it is not of the appropriate data type. Domain constraints specify that which is tuple and the value of each attribute must be unique. This is specified as data type, which include standard data type, integers, real numbers, characters, booleans, variable length strings, etc. Clear? Example for this is create domain customer name. Check value not null. Okay. The example shown demonstrates creating a domain constraints that the customer name is not null. Second type is key constraint, an attribute that can uniquely identify a tuple in a relation is the key of the table. The value of attribute for different tuple in the relation has to be unique. Example, in the given table, customer ID is a key attribute of customer table. Clear? It is most likely to have a single key for one customer. Customer ID is equals to 1 is only for the customer name is Google. Specific ID for specific customer name. Clear? Here customer ID is a key constraint. Here see the chart, customer ID, customer name and status is there. Customer ID 1 for Google. For Google ID is 1 only, not 2. Clear? Second is Amazon and third one is Apple. Clear? Got the concept? What is key constraint? Okay. Now the referential integrity constraint. Referential integrity constraint in DBMS are based on the concept of foreign keys. Okay, referral integrity constraints in DBMS are based on the concept of foreign keys. A foreign key in an important attribute of a relation, which should be referred to in other relationship. Referential integrity constraint state happiness where Relation refers to key attribute of the different or some relation. However, that key element must exist in the table. Clear? Example is there, right? Customer ID, customer name and status is there. For customer ID it is Google. For customer second it is Amazon. For customer 3 ID 3 Apple is there. What happened? In above example, we have two relations, customer and customer billing. Tuple for customer ID 1, it referred twice in the relation billing. So we know customer name Google has billing amount is $100. Clear? Operation of relation model. Okay, how operation is performed in relational model, that is going to being studied. Okay, for four basic update operations performed on relational database model are insert, update, delete and select. Which are the four basic update operations are performed on relation database? First one is insert, second one is update, third one is delete and fourth one is select. Insert is used to insert the data into the relation, right? Delete is used to delete the tuple from the table. Tuple means row. Okay. Modify arrow used to change the value of some attributes in existing tuples. Select arrow are to choose the specific range data. Clear? Here we know update modify arrow is used to change the value of some attributes in existing tuple, and select arrow used to allow you to choose the specific range of data. Read these four operations properly. Whenever one of three operations are applied, integrity constraints specified on the relation database schema must never be violated. Okay, first is insert operation. Clear? The insert operation gives value of the attribute for a new tuple which should be inserted into a relation. Here observe the table. What is there? First column is for customer ID, second is for customer name, third is status. This is our information present currently. For customer ID 1, there is customer name is Google. For customer ID second, customer name is Amazon, and third one is Apple is there. Third customer ID name is Apple is there, and in front of them their status active or inactive. Google and Amazon are active and Apple is inactive. If I how to insert fourth customer ID, then I can use insert operation, right? Insert arrow is there. Then here after insertion operation in table there is fourth ID is get added, Alibaba is there and their status is also clear. Next operation is update operation. Next is update operation, right? In update operation, you can see that the below given relation table customer name Apple is updated from inactive to active, right? In after insert operation, we got the new information table is there. Now here four customer ID 1, 2, 3, 4 and customer name respectively Google, Amazon, Apple and Alibaba, and their status is Google, Amazon is active, Apple is inactive and Alibaba is active in current state. But we have to but Apple change status inactive to active, then we have to update it now. It's active now. Then for update we have to update information in same table, not how to use different table or row. Then here is the Next new table is where inactive to active updates is been saved. Clear? After that is delete operation. To specify deletion, a common on the attributes of the relation, select the table to be deleted. Clear? As we have information table with 4 IDs, 4 customer names and their status. But I have to now delete the Apple customer ID 3 Apple because it is no more in our database. Then delete option is used. In above given example, customer name is Apple is deleted from the table. The delete operation could violate referential integrity if the table which is deleted is referenced by foreign keys from out table in the same database. Clear? Same database, we only delete the Now fourth and last operation is select operation. If I have to select one of many customer IDs, I have to select Amazon. Then I have to put only select the customer ID second, Amazon is there. See there in the above given example, customer name Amazon is selected. Right? You can select anyone. Then best practices for creating a relational model is first data need to be represented as a collection of relation. Then we have to second step is each relation should be differentiated clearly in the table. Third is rows should contain data about instances of the entity. Fourth is column must contain data about attributes of the entity. Next is the cell of the table should hold a single value. Each column should be given a unique name. Clear? No two rows can be identical. The value of attribute should be from the same domain. We have to take care how many tables we use, they all are different. Okay, don't give same names to the different data, different names should be used. Clear? Advantage of using relational model is for simplicity. A relational data model in DBMS is simpler than the hierarchical and network model. Clear? Second advantage is structural independence. The relational database is only concerned with data and not with a structure. This can improve the performance of the model. Okay? Then it is easy to use. The relational model in DBMS is easy as table consisting of rows and columns are quite natural and simple to understand. Next advantage is query capability. It makes possible for high level query language like SQL to avoid complex database navigation. Right? Then next advantage is data independence. The structure of relational database can be changed without having to change any application. Clear? And last advantage is scalable. Regarding a number of records or rows and the number of fields, a database should be enlarged to enhance its usability. Clear? And disadvantage, there are few disadvantage also in the relational model, that are first one is few relational database have limits on field length which cannot be exceeded. Means few relational database have limits on field length can't be expand in few models. This is the one disadvantage. Second disadvantage is relation database. Relational database can sometimes become complex as the amount of data grow and the relation between pieces of data become more complicated. Clear? And third one is complex relation database system may lead to isolated database where the information cannot be shared from one system to another. Complex relation database system may lead to isolated database, okay, where information cannot be shared from one system to another. This is the disadvantage of relational database. Here is the summary. We study what is relational model, what are the different operations are there, right? Their advantages, disadvantages. Here is the summary for that. Okay. Then summary is the relational database modeling represents the database as a collection of relations like tables. Second is attribute tables, double relation schema, degree, coordinate column, relation instance as some important components of relation model. The relational integrity constraints are referred to conditions which must be present for the valid relation approach in DBMS. Domain constraints can be violated if an attribute's value is not appearing in the corresponding domain or it is not of the appropriate data type. Insert, select, modify and delete are the operations performed in relational model constraints. The relation database is only concerned with data and not with a structure which can improve the performance of the model. Next is advantages of relation model in DBMS are simplicity, structural independence, easy of use, query capability, data impedance, scalability, etc. Few relational databases have limit on field length which can't be exceeded. Clear? Now the next data replication in DBMS. Next we have to study replication in DBMS. Okay. Uh, Data replications in DBMS. Data replications is the process of storing data in more than one site or node. Clear? Data replications means we can store the data in different sites or nodes. Okay, in different computers you can store the same data. It is useful in improving the availability of data. Clear? Just like we take the backup of our main files in Gmail or in hard disks by your computer, right? Because availability of data is improving, right? Same like that, replication is the concept in DBMS. It is simply copying the data from the database from one server to another can share the same data without any inconsistency, right? The result is a distributed database in which users can access data relevant to their task without interfering with the work of others. Clear? What is happened due to replication? Improve the availability of data and simply copying the data from one database to the another server, so all the users can share the same data without any inconsistency, right? The result in is a distributed database in which users can access data relevant to their task without interfering with the work of course. Clear? Data replications encompasses duplication of transaction on an ongoing basis so that the replicates is in a consistently updated state and synchronized with the source. However, in data replications, data is available at different locations, but a particular relation has to reside at only one location, right? There can be full replication in which the whole database is stored at every site. There can also be partial replication in which some frequently used fragments of the database are replicated and others are not replicated. Clear? Types of data replication. First type is transactional replication. In transactional replications, user receive full initial copies of the database and then receive update as a data change. Data is copied in real time from the publisher to the receiving database, that is subscriber, as the same order as they occurred with the publisher. Therefore, in this type of replication, transactional consistency is guaranteed. Transaction replication is typically used in server-to-server environment. It does not simply copy the data changes, but rather consistently and accurately replicates each change. What happens in transactional replication? In transactional replication, user receive full initial copy of database and then receive update as a data change. Clear? First receive the full copy and then update the data change, right? Then what happens? The data is copied in real time from the publisher to subscriber in same order as occurs with the publisher. Therefore, this type of replication is called transactional consistency is guaranteed, right? It is used in server to server environment and does not simply copy the data change but rather consistently and accurately replicates each change. Clear? Next is snapshot replication. Snapshot replication distributes data exactly as it appears at a specific moment in time, does not monitor for update to the data. The entire screenshot is generated and sent to the user. Snapshot replications is generally used when data changes are infrequent. It is bit slower than transactional because on each attempt it moves multiple records from one end to the other end. Snapshot replication is good way to perform initial synchronization between the publisher and subscriber, right? Snapshot is there, we take screenshot of the screen, right? Here I taking the lecture. If you got any you do not got any concept or you want to take as a note, you can take screenshot now for the screen, but it is lengthy process, right? Whole data is not covered in one snapshot, right? Next is merge replication. Data from two or more databases is combined into a single database. Okay, merged replication is the most complex type of replication because it allows both publisher and subscriber to independently make the changes to the database. Merge means you can add one or more data in one database, right? It's called as a merge database. Here it is a complex type replication because it allows both publisher and subscriber to independently make the changes in database, right? Merge replications is typically used in server to client environment. Clear? Traditional replications is used in server to server, right? And in merge replication it is used in server to client environment. It allows changes to send from one publisher to multiple subscriber. Clear? Different replication schemes are there. First one is full replication, second one is no replication, third one is parallel replication. Now we are going to study one by one. Okay, first one is full replication. What happened in full replication? The most extreme case is replication of the whole database at every site in the distributed system. This will improve the availability of the system because the system can continue to operate as long as at least one site is up. What happened in full replication? Most extreme cases in replication of the whole database at every site in the distributed system. This will improve the availability of the system because the system can continue to operate as longer as at least one site is up. What happens? Different users can use single server or system, right? Data, original data and full replication we can take is. Here diagram observe. Full replication allow to take whole database at every site. Okay, whole database can replicate. Clear? In full replication. Advantage of full replications are: first one is high availability of data, second is improve the performance of retrieval or global queries as the result can be obtained locally from any of the local site, right? And third advantage is faster execution of the queries. Disadvantage of fully replication is concurrency is difficult to achieve in full replication, right. Concurrency means multiple sequences execute at one time. It is not it is difficult in full replication. Slow update process as a single update must be performed at different database to keep the copy consistent. Operation is time is lengthy, right? Slow process is there because one server is there which copy the data consistent. Okay, second scheme is no replication. The other case of replication involve having no replication, that is grade each fragment is stored at one site. No replication means there is no happens the replicates the data. Clear? That is each fragment is stored at only one site. Only one server contains the data. It cannot be copied. Okay, see here, diagram is most important. Advantage of no replication is the data can be easily recovered and concurrency can be achieved in no replications, right? Then disadvantage of no replications means multiple users are accessing the same server. It may slow down executing of queries. Means different users want same information, then server get slow down, right? And second disadvantage is the data is not easily available as there is no replication. Data is not easily available na, because it is stored in only one server, not many servers. So it's very hard. Hmm. Third is partial replication. In this type of replication, some fragments of the database may be replicated, whereas other may not. The number of copies of the fragments may range from 1 to the total number of sites in distributed system. The description of the replication of fragments is sometimes called the replication scheme. What and what happened in partial replication? Replication, some fragments of the database may be replicated whereas others may not. Some are replicates or some are not. Okay, clear, it is called as partial. Advantages of partial replications are: first is number of copies of the fragments depend on the importance of data, right? Advantage of data replications are the data replications is generally performed to provide a consistent copy of data across all the database nodes, right? Second is to increase the availability of data. Third one is the reliability of data is increased through data replications. Fourth one is data replication supports multiple user and give high performance. Next one is to remove any data redundancy. The database are merged and slave database are updated with outdated or incomplete data. Since replicas are created, there are changes, then the data is found itself where the transaction is executing, which reduces the data movement. Next one is to perform faster execution of queries. These are the different advantages of data replication, right? Now disadvantage of the data replications are the more storage space is needed, as storing a replicas of same data at different site consumes more space. Like, right, same data is stored in different places, then more space is required, right? More replications become expensive than the replica at all different sites need to be updated, right? Maintaining data consistency at all different sites involve complex measures. This is all about replicas. Now we will see or move further towards the fragmentation in distributed database. Clear? What happen in fragmentation in distributed database? What is fragmentation first? Fragmentation is a process of dividing the whole or full database into various subtables or sub-relations so that data can be stored in different systems. Clear? Fragmentation means the whole data is divided into the different units or relation. We can say as a different relation, sub-relations are created so that the data can be stored in different systems also. The small piece of sub-relation or sub-tables are called fragments. Okay, whole data is divided into the sub-data and that sub-data is called as a fragments. These fragments are called logical data units and are stored at various sites. Fragments is also called as a logical data units and are stored at the various site. Clear? It must be made sure that the fragments are such that they can be used to reconstruct the original relation. Clear? These fragments are called logical data units and stored at various sites. It must be made sure that the fragments are such that they can be used to reconstruct the original relation. Clear? That is, there is not any loss of data, right? The fragmentation, for example, here is the unit number 6 is going parallel database. There is different subparts, like the here is the replica, fragmentation, relational model. These are the subpoints, that is sub data. Clear? Which is divided in different uh, relations, but data is not lost, right? Like that. In the fragmentation process, let's say if a table T is fragmented and is divided into a number of fragments, say T1, T2, T3 up to Tn, the fragment contains sufficient information to allow restoration of the original table, right? T. This restoration can be done by the use of union or join operation on various fragments. This process is called data fragmentation. Okay, if we divide the data in different nodes, that is T1, T1, T2 up to Tn, we can restore also by using union or join operation on various fragments. This process is called data fragmentation. Clear? Of all of these fragments are independent, which means these fragments can be derived from others. The user need not be logically concerned about fragmentation, which means they should not concern that the data is fragmented, and this is called fragmentation independence, or we can say fragmentation transparency. Clear? Advantage of fragmentations. First advantage is as the data is stored close to the user's site, the efficiency of the database system will increase. Local query optimization methods are sufficient for some queries as the data is available locally. In order to maintain the security and privacy of database system, fragmentation is advantageous, right? Because if we store whole data in one place, everyone can get that file. But we divide that file into different sub files and store in different locations. No one can take whole data, right? It's not easy. Then privacy is maintained. Then disadvantage is access speed may be very high if data from different fragments are needed, right? And second is if we are using recursive fragmentation, then it will be very expensive. We have three methods for data fragmenting of a table. First one is horizontal fragmentation, second one is vertical fragmentation, third one is mixed or hybrid fragmentation. Now let's discuss them one by one. First one is horizontal fragmentation. What happened in horizontal fragmentation? Horizontal fragmentation refers to the process of dividing a table horizontally by accessing each row or group of row of relation to one or more fragments. These fragments are then assigned to a different sites in the distributed system. What is happening in horizontal fragmentation refers to the process of dividing a table horizontally. Table divide in horizontally. Each row or group of rows of the relation of two or more fragments. These fragments then be assigned to a different sites in the distributed system. Okay. Some of the rows or tuples of the table are placed in one system and rest are placed in other system. The row that belongs to the horizontal fragments are specified by a condition on one or more attributes of the relation. In relational algebra, horizontal fragmentation on table T can be represented as follows. Means what? Different row are stored in different, there are total 10 rows are there, 10 numbers of rows. I fragment the table horizontally, then first two rows store in node 1, next two is stored in node 2, means different rows are stored in different places, right? Is relation algebra operators. Note that the union operation can be performed on the fragmentation to construct the table T. Such a fragment containing all the rows of table T is called a complete horizontal fragment. Clear? For example, see the example. Consider an employee table is there. Employee number, employee name, design and salary and department. The employee table can be divided into different fragments like employee 1 and employee 2 in one. Okay, these two fragments are T1 and T2 of department 1. Next is A and B. T2 fragments are there. And next is 3, 4, 5 in one section. Clear? In vertical fragmentation refers to the process of decomposing a table vertically as attributes are column. In this fragmentation, some of the attributes are stored in some system and rest are stored in other systems. Same like horizontal fragmentation, vertical fragmentation is there. Here columns are stored, different columns are stored in different systems. Clear? This is because site may not allow column to a table. In order to take care of restoration, each fragment must contain the primary key field in a table. The fragmentation should be in such a manner that we can rebuild a table from the fragments by taking the natural joint operation, and make it possible to need to include special attributes called tuple id to the schema. For this purpose, a user can use only super key, and by this the tuple rows can be linked together. Clear? Employee number, employee name, design, tuple id is there. Then for this second subtables of relation after vertical fragmentation gives as where is salary, department and tuple id is in one. These three columns are in one fragments T1 and T2, right? T1 and another is, and remaining are in different system. Next is mixed fragmentation, the combination of vertical fragmentation of a table followed by further horizontal fragmentation, okay, of some fragments is called mixed. Okay, in mixed fragmentation, some of the combination of vertical fragmentation at table followed by further horizontal fragmentation. Both have horizontal and vertical done in one fragmentation. It's called hybrid fragmentation. For defining this type of fragmentation, use the select and project operation and relation algebra. In some situation, the horizontal and the vertical fragmentation is not enough to distribute data for some application, and in that condition we need a fragmentation called as a mixed fragmentation. Okay, mixed fragmentation can be done in two different ways. The first method is to first create a set of group of horizontal fragments and then create vertical fragments from one or more of the horizontal fragments. And second method is the select method is to first create a set of group of vertical fragments and create horizontal fragments from one or more of the vertical fragments. The original relation can be obtained by the combination of join and union operation, which is given as follows, right? Take example. For example, for our employee table below of the implementation of the mixed fragmentation, employee name and design is there na. Attention return. This is all about today's lecture. Replications is there, fragmentation is there, types of fragmentation is there, and relational model we have studied in this chapter. Now next part continuing tomorrow's lecture. Study well and got the concept carefully. These diagrams are used to explain. Please refer that. Study well. Each and every concept is